in journalism, where brave men and women gave voice to the voiceless. But then the corporations bought the journalist, poisoning the news that we are fed. With those tainted sources, all we ever ate was a steady diet of status quo. This hijacked narrative is the truth of mass suffering, injustice, and corruption throughout our land. Status quo, status quo, status quo, status quo. To expose this shift to oligarchy came a band of honest journalists. They left the studio and hit the streets to give the microphone back to the people. From sea to sea, the people were empowered to share their truth. Their voices no longer stifled, reclaimed their power. Join the media revolution now.
Hey there, Jordan Sheridan live. It is Tuesday, September 17th. Back to the actual green screen. We have something's going on with the program I use to have the green screen behind me with the status quo graphic, and I didn't really have a lot of time to figure it out, so I'll figure that out for tomorrow. So today, you're stuck with me in front of an actual screen that is green rather than the status quo graphic. Hopefully that is okay for you. We're not 60 Minutes. What can I tell you? The other disclaimer, I'm not feeling so well. I have a sore throat. Not sure what's going on. The last day or so, I've not been feeling great. Bit of a headache, sore throat. But I wanted to go live because there's just too much to talk about. So if my throat or my voice is coming off a little bit raspy, it's because I'm a little under the weather. Got my water and drank some tea with honey and probably order some hot and spicy soup after this live stream. So bear with me, not feeling terrific, but I come to you because I am a servant of the people. I am a servant of the people. So you got an actual green screen, a raspy, sick Jordan, but I think we have some important stories to talk about today, so hope everyone is ready. Now, also, just to give you a little update, a little behind the scenes, at my core, my priority is investigative reporting. And sometimes that investigative reporting conflicts with going live every day, which it's not like I just turn on and go live. You got to prepare for a live stream for at least an hour or two. So I'm working with Jen's help on a pretty big story. I'm not going to get into full details. It does involve Flint. I spoke with an outlet last week that is pretty big and is interested in possibly doing that story. So most of my time, the last 4 or 5 days, has not been spent on the 2020 campaign or staying on politics. It's been making calls, doing research on this story. And the only hint I could give you is it's a massive story, and it's really, if we break it, will expose what really was going on, what were the real reasons why the Flint water crisis happened, not the BS reasons they've given. So just giving you that as a disclaimer, as my live stream schedule might be a little inconsistent this week, because I'm literally spending every day all the way into the night calling people and researching documents, including financial documents, and it's taking up a lot of my time. So if I'm not live every day, that's why. Don't think status quo is, not in full swing, but we don't have a big enough budget to hire a full-time reporter yet. You could help with that by becoming a Status Quo member, which we'll get into. But for now, it's only me and Jen, and I gotta focus on this investigative story. So remember, I need all of you to press the like button. It's the thumbs up button right under this video. The more people that press the thumbs up button, the more people that will see this live stream. We got 250 people watching. 104 of you have pressed the like button. It's right under the video. Press that thumbs up button. I am live, even with a really, really sore throat and not feeling great. So give me a little love. Press that like button. More people. And if you're watching on your phone, if you're in the live chat, just press the X button, get out of the live chat for a second, and then press the thumbs up button. Liking, liking, liking. Liking is loving. Now, you could also support our investigative reporting and the story that we're working on by signing up as a Status Coup member. We are now at 700 Status Coup members, statuscoup.com/join. The more members we get, the more we're going to be able to get back in the field. And for this particular story that I'm talking to you about, I will have to go back in the field probably in the next week or two. I'm not going to say what it is because honestly, I don't want to give the people I'm investigating any thought or heads up of what I'm looking into, both so the story doesn't get sabotaged, but also so for safety reasons. We don't need to let them know what I'm doing and where I'm doing it. Follow us at Status Coup, at Status Coup, and subscribe to our podcast right there, and then join our email list, statuscoup.com, and then you'll see a field to enter your email. So there's a lot going on. Honestly, the debate was Thursday. I had over the weekend. Oh, I forgot to tell you. Before I get to that, we are now at $71,330. $71,330 in our GoFundMe. So we are 13,000 something dollars away from reaching our GoFundMe goal of 85,000. I understand it's hard to keep the urgency for a GoFundMe going. I only ask, if you like our reporting, if you want to see myself back in the field very soon, keep it coming in the GoFundMe. Every amount is appreciated. I think the minimum is $5. Thank you to everyone who has been donating, and let's keep it coming if you can. Jen is not here today, so I'll drop the link in the GoFundMe. So, I couldn't do a live show right after the debate. I did a live show the night after the debate, but Friday I couldn't go live because it was my mother's 60th birthday, so I was with my family for the weekend. Happy birthday, Mama Sheridan. And speaking of that GoFundMe, it just so happens to be my 33rd birthday coming up Friday. So if you want to give me an early birthday present, GoFundMe. This is also a super chat. So I haven't been live. And to tell you the truth, I mean, the media has been manufacturing consent basically for weeks as far as Joe Biden and Elizabeth Warren. But what I have seen in the last 72 hours makes me think the media has officially jumped on the Elizabeth Warren bandwagon. They're hedging their bets a little bit. They're not totally throwing in the towel for Joe Biden, but pretty close. As far as totally putting all their chips behind Elizabeth Warren. And I want to kind of juxtapose the clip we are seeing with the clips I'm going to show you with Elizabeth Warren, the clips I'm going to show you with Joe Biden, with the General Motors and the United Auto Workers strikers finally fighting back, where Donald Trump, his administration, is set to intervene. Obviously, they're set to intervene. They're saying they're going to jump on the side of the United Auto Workers, who are now striking against General Motors. It's one of the first strikes of auto workers in, I think, over a decade. If you remember, if you're an OG Status Couer was on the ground a couple months ago when General Motors laid off 15,000 people. There was no other national media on the ground when General Motors laid off 15,000 people. We were, and we interviewed auto workers, GM workers, Fiat, Chrysler workers. We were on the ground interviewing people thanks to you. So I'm gonna remind you of some of the interviews we did. But what I want to show is that the GM strikes, like the teachers strikes, like a lot of the strikes we're seeing, Verizon, Nissan workers, is showing you that the working class of this country is awoken. The bear that has been asleep is no longer asleep. And the way to beat Donald Trump, who doesn't give a damn about General Motors workers, is not with this, what I'm about to show you. To me, that was one of the most incredible moments. Incredible moments. Oh. Ooh. Oh, can't hear it. Hold on. Let me see what's going on here. Give me a second. Let me try to figure out why you can't hear it.
And they guarantee health care to all people under my Medicare for All proposal. When you don't pay out of pocket and you don't pay premiums, maybe you've run into people who love their premiums. I haven't. What people want is cost-effective health care. Medicare for All will save the average American substantial sums of money on his or her health care bill.
Senator Klobuchar, you said in your opening statement you want to represent the people stuck.
Okay. So you could hear now. Let me play that for you. The part that I wanted to play. Sorry about that.
Question here in terms of difference is where to send the bill.
Senator Sanders.
Let us be clear, Joe. In the United States of America, we are spending twice as much per capita on health care as the Canadians or any other major country on earth.
This America.
Yeah, but Americans don't want to pay twice as much as other countries. And they guarantee health. Be clear, Joe. In the United States of America, we are spending twice as much per capita on health care as the Canadians or any other major country on earth.
This America.
Yeah, but Americans don't want to pay twice as much as other countries. And they guarantee...
To me, that was one of the most unbelievable moments of the debate. I know that Joe Biden defenders and the establishment will spin it. I know that they're going to say, oh, he was just saying we're not like other countries. We're not like other countries. What Joe Biden was truly saying, what he was truly saying was, this is America. We're about corporate profits. We're about corporate profits. You shouldn't compare America to Canada and other countries that actually have governments that represent people, because this is America. And we don't work that way. And you want to know how I know he meant it? Because did you see the smirk on his face when he said, this is America? Like, oh, Bernie, you communist, this is America. This is America. So, what's unbelievable to me, that barely got any mention, that Joe Biden right there essentially just openly said, this is America. We're not like other sane countries. We're corrupt. And nobody seemed to notice or care that he just acknowledged the corruption rampant, totally rampant. But to me, that was one point. And remember, we got 430 30 people watching, only 234 of you have pressed that like button. So we need every single person. Press the thumbs up button right under the video. If you're watching on your phone, get out of the live chat for a second, press the thumbs up button, and then you can go back in. Very, very, very important. The more people that press the like button, the more viewers that we will get. For whatever reason, YouTube, their algorithm works. If more people press the like button, more people then see the live stream in their feeds. So, but that wasn't the only thing. What was also remarkable to me was how Elizabeth Warren, who has really been credited with the whole I have a plan for everything, from sliced bread to how to roll out of bed correctly if you have back pains. She's been credited with I have a plan. Well, she was intentionally vague on a pretty important thing, vague to the point that I'd say dishonest. And by the way, thank you very much. We just got $10 from Lauren, $10 from Marcia. So we're now at $71,350. $71,350 in our GoFundMe. Oh my Lord, what would I do to get to $72,000 by the end of this live stream? We're getting closer and closer, folks, to that ultimate goal of $85,000. And like I said at the beginning of the live stream, I am working on a major investigative story, and I am definitely going to have to go back in the field. Probably after Friday. Friday's my birthday, so probably after Friday I'll be back in the field investigating this major story. I'd love to tell you more, but I don't want to screw up the story, and I don't want to put a target on my back, so I'll leave it at that. There's the GoFundMe link. So it wasn't only Joe Biden saying ridiculous things. It was also, frankly, Elizabeth Warren who said ridiculous things. Let's go back to Elizabeth Warren, who was questioned because she's been pretty wish-washy on Medicare for All. She was questioned by the ABC anchor. Let's see what she had to say.
I can pay for it, how I can get it done, and why it's better.
Senator Warren, let me take that to you, particularly on what Senator Biden was saying there about health care. He's actually praised Bernie Sanders for being candid about his health care plan. Senator Sanders has been candid about the fact that middle-class taxes are going to go up and most of private insurance is going to be eliminated. Will you make that same admission?
So let's be clear about health care, and let's actually start where Vice President did. We all owe a huge debt to President Obama, who fundamentally transformed healthcare in America and committed this country to healthcare for every human being. And now the question is, how best can we improve on it? And I believe the best way we can do that is we make sure that everybody gets covered by healthcare at the lowest possible cost. How do we pay for it? We pay for it. Those at the very top, the richest individuals and the biggest corporations, are going to pay more. And middle-class families are going to pay less. That's how this is going to work.
Direct question. You said middle-class families are going to pay less, but will middle-class taxes go up to pay for the program? I know you believe that the deductibles and the premiums will go down. Will middle-class taxes go up? Will private insurance be eliminated?
Look, what families have to deal with is cost, total cost. That's what they have to deal with. And understand, families are paying for their health care today. Families pay every time an insurance company says, sorry, you can't see that specialist. Every time an insurance company says, sorry, that doctor is out of network. Sorry, we are not covering that prescription. Families are paying every time they don't get a prescription filled because they can't pay for it. They don't have a lump checked out because they can't afford the copay. What we're talking about here is what's going to happen in families' pockets, what's going to happen in their budgets. And the answer is on Medicare for All. Costs are going to go up for wealthier individuals, and costs are going to go up for giant corporations. But for hard-working families across this country, costs are going to go down, and that's how it should work under Medicare for All in our health care system.
Senator Sanders, you were...
So why I played that is Elizabeth Warren right now is kind of pulling back, she's kind of reviving a little Obama 2007, 2008. It all sounds wonderful. It all sounds terrific. But it's vague enough to give her wiggle room after the fact if elected president. Why that answer is just disingenuous is the fact that first of all, there is no such thing as the middle class, and I hate that it keeps being talked about. There is no middle class anymore. There's a working class, and there's a controlled demolition of the working class. But putting that aside, when Elizabeth Warren says what's going to pay for Medicare for all is Wall Street taxes and wealthy people, that's just not true. Bernie is being honest by saying, yes, like in every other country that has a single-payer Medicare system, your taxes will be increased a little bit, but overall, your income will go down. But Elizabeth Warren doesn't want to admit that on Medicare for all, your taxes would go up, because she's trying to be everything to everybody, and she's trying to make everything sound so great. I have a plan, I have a plan, I have a plan. But the consultants around her, and frankly, she's getting a lot of money from the usual suspects. And the Clinton people are starting more and more to move away from Kamala Harris and go to Elizabeth Warren. So her answer, it's not as bad as Joe Biden, don't get me wrong, but that your overall costs will go down, yes. But to wiggle out of the answer that your taxes will go up to pay for the Medicare for all system, but overall the tax increases that you will see will be less, significantly less, than the cost savings you have. So in one breath, she's saying overall costs will go down, but she doesn't want voters to know that under Medicare for all, yes, you would pay a little bit more in taxes. You want to know why I don't think she's putting that out there? Because I don't think she actually believes in Medicare for all, down to her bones. You know, she said, I'm a capitalist to my bones. I don't think she actually believes in Medicare for all, and I don't really think Medicare for all, if she becomes the nominee, or if she became president, is something she's, as a priority, going to fight for the way Bernie Sanders would. If it was, she would be open about the fact, yes, Wall Street, to fund Medicare for all, there will be increases in taxes on Wall Street speculation, corporations will pay more, but that's part of it. The system we are going to pay into by having our taxes go up slightly. However, overall, the savings we will see means overall costs will go down. She won't acknowledge that. And if you won't be honest, you're basically trying to tell voters what they want to hear. You're basically trying to make it seem like you're going to get this great thing to the voter, but you're not going to have to pay anything more. Well, you will have to pay something more, but that something more you pay in taxes, like I said, will be far less than the savings of no copays, no deductibles, no car insurance, no hidden costs. But that wasn't the only time she dodged that answer. That wasn't the only time she dodged that. Let's hear what she said in an interview with CNN. And honestly, if this was Bernie Sanders, they would murder Bernie Sanders if he was this slippery. But Elizabeth Warren, who I have a plan for everything but is dodging on this, gets away with it. Here we go.
Sure.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, look.
What you want to do? Could you do what about the middle class? Could you do what you want to do with all your plans and not have a tax on the middle class?
Sure.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, look, I've got a housing bill that'll build 1.2 million new housing units, fully paid for.
No tax on the middle class for any of it.
Corporate investment, a green, nope. And I just came out with Social Security plan today. $200 increase across the board for everyone who gets Social Security and everybody who gets disability payments. It will literally lift millions of people out of poverty. And you know who's going to pay for it? The top 2%. This is about our country. We need to get some balance back in this. You know, let me just make one small pitch. We know from the data that the 99% last year paid about 7.2% of their total wealth in taxes. The top 1%, they paid about 3.2%. If we call on them to pay a little more and then take that money and invest it in the rest of America, we can make this economy work for everyone. Not just some, but for everyone. And we can make this democracy work for everyone.
Since you're heading off to school, I got you this Brita.
Dad, I just got a zero water.
But we always use Brita.
So there's no other way. There's no other way for me to say that, and I'm not trying to be unfair to Elizabeth Warren. Listen, the facts are the facts. She had a massive, massive crowd in Washington Square Park last night. I'm not taking that away from her. She is getting fairly big crowds. I don't know if it was 20,000 people. I wasn't there because I'm working on this investigative story, but she is doing well. She had a big crowd in Minnesota. She had a big crowd in Seattle. So she does have people behind her. She does have momentum, and she's competitive in the polls. They've tried to make it seem like she's taking the lead over Bernie Sanders. That's just not backed up in the majority of polls. But when she's sitting in an interview with Chris Cuomo, and she is saying things, and sorry if I'm missing super chats. I'm trying to do a lot of things at once. So thank you, Tim Gordon, $2.99 in the super chat. I'm scared of Warren winning the primary. When she's saying, when the anchor is saying, you're going to be able to do all of this, and no taxes aren't going to go up at all. Nope. Well, that's just bullshit. Excuse my French. Demonetized. That's just not true. Taxes would go up, but taxes would go up, like I said, at a rate that would be far less than the savings you would have from the Medicare for All. So Elizabeth Warren is trying to, like Kamala Harris originally, she's trying to have her cake and eat it too. She's trying to seem very progressive, sign on to the policies Bernie Sanders has spearheaded. I'll join Status Quo if Status Quo will spring for a YouTube premium membership. I was just subjected to an ad, which I hate. We will not spring for YouTube premium, and we're not doing membership through YouTube because, frankly, I don't trust YouTube, and I don't want to be dependent on YouTube. YouTube is suppressing Status Quo. YouTube is suppressing other independent media outlets, so Status Quo's business model is to be as separate from YouTube as possible. So that's why we tell our viewers to join us as a member through our website, not YouTube, because frankly, it is media suicide to be dependent on YouTube. Because any day, YouTube, as they change their algorithm and start with and continue their fuckery, can kick certain channels off for being extremist or propaganda or whatever they say. And bottom line, we can be screwed by YouTube. So we are calling on people to join Status Quo as members to our website. It's as simple as statusquo.com/join. That's how you support us. That's how we make enough money per month to go out in the field and cover the stories no one else will cover. We want to hit 1,000 by the end of this year. So we got some work to do, folks. And I know the 567 of you watching right now, I know there's some strays in there that haven't become members. If you can't do it, if money's not, if money's tight, we get it. No problem. If you do got $5 to $10 a month, I think it's well spent on independent journalism. But the thing is, with Warren, I'm not saying she's lying like Joe Biden is lying or Kamala Harris is lying. I don't think it's to that degree. But what I do think is she's trying to be everything to everybody, and she's not being completely intellectually honest. So if you want to call that a lie, fine. When you're saying taxes won't go up, but you're still going to get Medicare for all, that's a lie. It's a lie. Now, your taxes will go up, but yes, you're going to save overall more because the tax increases will be far less than the cost savings. So you'll save more money from getting rid of private insurance than the tax increases you will see. But she's not making that argument. She's not making an honest argument. What she's doing is trying to make you think she's for capital M Medicare for All, Bernie's plan, even though, by the way, on her website, this I have a plan for everything, that's what the media has made her to be. She's so specific. She's got great proposals, all this. Her healthcare section does not say a word about ending private insurance. Well, you're saying your Medicare for All plan, you won't see middle-class taxes will not go up. And on your website, which has all your plans, you don't have ending private insurance, which you're going to have to, if not end, essentially completely neutralize and far significantly diminish private insurance to have Medicare for All work. Christine Marie Johnston canceled my TYT membership today. I'd rather you have it. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Christine. I appreciate the super chat. What I would tell you if you're canceling your membership to my old stomping grounds is use that money, statuscoup.com/join. Become a member to us. I'm not going to spend my life or my time bashing the Young Turks. Obviously, people know I'm not the biggest fan, but they will rise or fall based on what they do and whether they're fair and whether they're really being progressive. In my view, I think, and I said this while I was still at TYT, I think they've strayed from capital P progressive roots, and I don't like some of the coverage I've seen recently. I also think they have a problem with facts a lot of the time. As far as their segments, they get a lot of the facts wrong, actually, which is surprising. So still have friends there, but I would definitely say I'm not telling people cancel your memberships to other places. That's your decision. But if you decide to cancel your membership to a place like TYT, I think it's way better spent here because I'm telling you the truth, folks. I'm going to tell you the truth as we see it based on the facts. I've also told you, some of you don't like this, but I'm going to be honest. I don't think Elizabeth Warren is as bad as Joe Biden or Kamala Harris or Pete Buttigieg. That doesn't mean I want her to be the nominee. I also don't think she is going to be the nominee. But I also have not seen the critical coverage against Elizabeth Warren from TYT. I see TYT basically hedging their bets. And frankly, if we're keeping it real, TYT is getting interviews with Elizabeth Warren, right? TYT is getting interviews with Bernie Sanders. I am not. You draw the conclusions. I am critical of Bernie Sanders when it's needed. I have been critical with facts. I have been fair but critical of Elizabeth Warren. And even though I don't think she's as bad as Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, some of you might disagree with that. I also am not going to close my eyes and pretend there is not a major hypocrisy here, because you cannot be saying in front of 20,000 people in Washington Square Park in New York City, which she had 20,000 people according to her campaign. There was a lot of people there. I don't know if there's 20,000, but a lot of people. How are you sitting there talking about corruption, this, going after corruption, the root of all evils is American corruption? But, I mean, I've reported on this. She's going around the country having hot tea with the establishment. She's having meetings with leaders of the corporate Democratic establishment that is totally rampant in that corruption she's saying that she's going to fight. Bernie Sanders is not. Now, some of you might say, and frankly, God bless her, she might be watching. I love you. My girlfriend might be watching, who, God bless her, she's a Warren supporter. Also likes Bernie, but she's a Warren supporter. We have wonderful, loving fights about it all the time. And bottom line, some people like her might say, well, God forbid she's being a politician and trying to get endorsements. Well, if you're sitting here ranting about corruption and you're saying the money is the problem, yet you're going around the country playing footsie with the very people embedded in that corrupt system, how are we to take you seriously? If during an interview with the Young Turks, my old stomping grounds, you're asked about, will you take the corporate money? And you're sitting here saying, I'm, during the primary, absolutely not. Money is awful. But during the general election, well, we can't unilaterally disarm. How are you to be trusted? How are you to be trusted? Because if you're making if you're already making those little deals with yourself, those little rationalizations that, yeah, you know, I'll deal with the corruption later, I'll deal with the money in politics later, but I got to win. So during the general election, yeah, I'll take the money. Even though by the fact, forget whether it's ethical or moral or not to take that money. It's not necessary. If you were the Democratic nominee, you're going to have and actually stick to your progressive roots, you're going to have a flood of money come in trying to support you. Elizabeth Warren has made a different calculation, a far, far different calculation. And I think it's a cynical one. Because you can't have it both ways. You're either against the money in politics, you're either against legalized bribery, you're either against having big dollar donors and corporations and super PACs basically decide policy and decide what will happen in America and decide what will not happen in America. or you're not. I'd rather Bernie Sanders become the nominee, not take that money and lose the general election the right way, than take that money and win. Because if he were to take that money, or if Warren is to take that money, it's not like those little trade-offs. It's not like those little deals with the devils stop there. Then you become president. You say, you know what? I know I told myself I wouldn't do this again, but you know, this X, Y, or Z is so close that if I just take the money from this or that group or person, we'll get there. Well, it's a slippery slope. And before you know it, you're Debbie Wasserman Schultz, or Barack Obama, or Hillary Clinton. That's the truth. And I also felt, which I don't know if TYT has pointed this out. I don't know if any independent outlet has pointed out. Chris Cuomo certainly didn't challenge her. Take a look at this.
Can capture the imagination of the left, but also the enthusiasm of the moderates. Do you think you move that way tonight?
So, that's really what this campaign has been all about reaching out and rebuilding our democracy. When I made the decision that I was not going to spend a big hunk of my time with bazillionaires and with corporate executives, it really freed up the time to go out and meet with people all around the country. I've now been to 27 states and Puerto Rico. I've done 130 town halls. I've taken literally thousands of unfiltered questions, and in the key measure of democracy, I've done more than 50,000 selfies with people. But it's been a chance to be able to talk with people about the things that touch their hearts. I think the old ways of thinking about this, there's this left and this right and this center. No.
I'm sorry. And again, I just want to put the disclaimer so people don't think I've gone off the deep end. I don't think she's as bad as Joe Biden. I don't think she's as bad as Pete Buttigieg. I don't think she's as bad as Kamala Harris. And remember, folks, we got 620 people watching. 444 of you have pressed that like button. Smash the like button, smash the like button, smash the like button. It's the thumbs up button right under the video. The more people that press the like button, the more people that will see this video. When you say, that's why I haven't done the fundraisers, that's why I haven't taken the money from the big donors, blah, 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 that's just not true. And, of course, Chris Cuomo wasn't going to call her on it, because what does he care? He doesn't care about corruption in Washington. He doesn't care about money in politics. Thank you, Notary S, $14.99 in the Super Chat. Happy B-Day, Jordan. Correction, my B-Day is this coming Friday, but I am doing an early birthday fundraising call. We are very, very close, very, very close to $72,000. And even, if we hit 72, then we're getting even closer to that ultimate goal of 85,000. Thank you, thank you, thank you. My preferred wish, if you got a couple bucks for my 33rd birthday, life flies when you're fighting corruption. I remember just turning 25. Now I'm turning 33. But if you got a couple bucks, if you want to give me a happy birthday, put it right there in the GoFundMe. But the thing is, Elizabeth Warren is, if you want to be nice and not say she's lying, she's being disingenuous. When she tells Chris Cuomo, oh no, that's why I haven't taken big money. That's why I haven't done big fundraisers. I haven't spent a second. Yeah, because you did all that before you ran. The New York Times reported, I think it was 2 weeks ago, running for Senate, her 2018 Senate re-election campaign, which obviously she had no intention of staying a senator. She ran for re-election and then announced her run for president right after she was reelected, a month after. Throughout that year, she did high-dollar fundraisers. The New York Times reported about one fundraiser at a steakhouse for $120 a steak. And she transferred $10 million from that Senate re-election campaign, raised predominantly from high-dollar donors, doing fundraisers in Martha's Vineyard, Silicon Valley, New York City. She transferred that money to her presidential campaign. That's how she had the money to start off with her presidential campaign, to hire more people than even Bernie in Iowa. She staffed up more than anyone else in Iowa because she had that, what I consider, politically dirty money from her Senate re-election. But she's going on CNN painting herself as she's doing things the right way. She's not taking money. She's trying to make it seem like she's the same as Bernie Sanders when she's not. It's the same thing she's doing when she answers a question. I was surprised George Stephanopoulos even asked. It's the same thing she's doing when she says middle-class families, their taxes won't go up under my Medicare for All plan. Well, what is your Medicare for All plan? Because you say, I'm with Bernie, but then you say taxes won't go up at all. Well, Bernie's being honest. Yes, taxes would go up under Medicare for All, but your tax increase will be far less, and your taxing, the savings you will save from that Medicare, from private insurance going away, no copays, no deductibles, no co-insurance, no hidden bills, the savings will be far more than the tax increase, meaning overall you'll get a cut. But she doesn't answer that way because to me, I don't think she's being genuine. And I don't think she's going to fight for Medicare for All. I don't. I'm sorry, I don't. David Ruiz, $5 in the super chat. It would be great if Warren could be called out on live TV, just like Biden was after the climate change forum for his fundraising the day after. Well, David, all I can tell you, if you become a Status Quo member at $5 to $10 a month, and we get that membership number up, we will have the money for me to get back in the field. Back is feeling pretty decent. And go to cover some Warren rallies. And I would like to respectfully get in front of Elizabeth Warren. Because frankly, no disrespect to anyone else who has interviewed her so far, they're not me. I don't even mean that arrogantly. I just mean they are not me. I don't care about access to these campaigns. I don't care if I get invited back to the Christmas party. I don't care. You give me, I get credentialed. I go in. If Elizabeth Warren is talking to press, I get in there. She's not going to wiggle around. And if she tries to wiggle around or her campaign pulls her away after she won't answer me, then that's an answer in itself. When politicians get pulled away by their campaign, when actual reporters question them, that's basically them choosing not to answer because they don't have an answer. So I'm not knocking anyone else that has interviewed Elizabeth Warren, but let's just say there was a little kid glove treatment. They're not going to get that from me. So, listen, bottom line, we have to be honest. She does have enthusiasm. She had, I don't know if it was actually 20,000, but she had a hell of a lot of people out there in Washington Square Park. I remember covering Bernie Sanders in 2016 in Washington Square Park. They said 28,000 people in that crowd. With all the people that were outside the park, overall 40,000 people. She didn't have that much, but she still had 20,000 or close to that. Campaigns tend to fudge these numbers a little bit, and it's hard to confirm it because I'm not there counting the amount of people. But I find it troubling that to win the nomination, Elizabeth Warren's strategy is very much what Barack Obama's strategy was in 2007 and 2008. I am going to part the seas, heal the world. The media is painting it that she's got all the plans. Well, she's got a plan for everything, but on Medicare for All, she's lying. She's not telling the truth. And she's not telling the truth because she doesn't want it to be known that your taxes will go up a little. I'm sorry. That is not being honest. That is not being honest. Plain and simple. And welcome, new Status Quo member, Trey. So we just got a new member. Welcome to Trey, our newest Status Quo member. We are now at 701 Status Quo members. Keep it coming. statusquo.com/join. I am ready to go. It is fall. We are 5 months before the Iowa primary. 5 months before the New Hampshire primary, then you got Nevada, then you got South Carolina. I want to get back on the road, folks. I want to cover the campaign. I want to cover it the way it should be covered. I don't want these candidates to just be, I don't want this manufacturing of consent of Elizabeth Warren and Kamala and Pete and Joe to continue unchallenged, but I need your help. If you got $5 to $10 a month, spend it. statusquo.com/join. That is what will fund us to get back out there. And to give you an update, I am continuing to interview to hire a cameraman or woman. We've been interviewing there, so hopefully I'll have a cameraman or woman hired within the next 2 to 3 weeks. Thank you. So Elizabeth Warren, to wrap this in a bow, there is a major manufacturing of consent for Elizabeth Warren going on. in fairness, Bernie Sanders cannot come out and attack Elizabeth Warren right now because it would harm him. There's no reason for Bernie Sanders to attack Elizabeth Warren. Frankly, I think he should have gone after Biden more in that third debate, just like I think he should have been more aggressive in all of the debates. Bernie has a debate problem. He doesn't want to come to a knife fight holding a knife, and for that, I don't, some of you might think that's fine. I think he is allowing other candidates to shine, and by not being aggressive, he is not getting the facts out there aggressively enough to move Biden down a notch. The working class need to know Biden is not middle class Joe. He's not Union Joe. I don't think Bernie made the case. Frankly, it looked like he was sick. So, benefit of the doubt, it looked like his throat was gone and he wasn't feeling so great. But we'll see. We'll see. The other important thing that is getting no coverage, and remember, we got 579 people watching right now. If you didn't see, it's my birthday on Friday, turning 33. Keep it coming in the GoFundMe. If you got a couple bucks, thank you. Leo just left $5. Marcia, $10. Lauren, $10. I would love to hit $72,000 today. So I'll put the link in the super chat. Keep it coming in the GoFundMe if you are so kind and want to see me and Status Coup have a wonderful birthday. I should be back in the field in the next week or two. And that story that I'm going back in the field for is major. I will leave it at that. I've been investigating something that is significant. It involves financial fraud. And all I can say is, if I break it, it's going to be a major, major story. One that you will not see any other outlet break, because frankly, they're afraid of losing their access. Let's put it that way. So keep it coming in the GoFundMe. The next thing that I want to talk about, Bernie Sanders. You have where was that California poll? California primary. Biden, 26. Sanders, 26. Warren, 20. You have Bernie tied in California. You have in New York, which I've been reporting on the New York primary quite a bit. Biden's at 22, Warren's at 17, Bernie's at 15. Bernie's within striking distance in New York, which to me, if you look at it, New York has the third largest amount of delegates up for grabs, 224 delegates. So New York is a very important state. Bernie he's down, but he's not totally out. No wonder Governor Andrew Cuomo has not signed a bill. The bill was passed in June that would move the totally suppressive, undemocratic early registration deadline. If you are not a Democrat in New York, you have till October 11th to register as a Democrat, or you cannot vote in the April 2020 primary. Both houses in New York, the Assembly and the State Senate, passed a bill moving that back to February 2020. But Andrew Cuomo has not signed that bill. Why would that be? Could it be that Bernie Sanders is within 7 points in New York, which has the third highest amount of delegates up for grabs? Could it be that Andrew Cuomo has opened up his entire fundraising network to Joe Biden? Could it be that Joe Biden was called Santa Claus by Andrew Cuomo? Could it be that Andrew Cuomo and Joe Biden has been BFFs for years? Because if Andrew Cuomo doesn't sign this bill, then by the very nature, and there's the number if you want to call Andrew Cuomo and give him a piece of your mind, why aren't you signing this bill that was passed? Status Quo is the only one covering this. This is total rigging the electoral system. This isn't just, people say you should move the deadline back. This is both houses of the New York Senate, the Assembly and the State Senate passed a bill to move it back to February to give more time for independents, Green Party, Working Families Party, which we're going to get to in a minute, even Republicans, to switch and register as a Democrat. So I would think if Bernie Sanders is only down by 7 points 6 months before the New York primary, wouldn't we want to make it more difficult for more people to register to close that gap? We don't want more independents able to vote, to register and then vote for Bernie Sanders. In fairness, maybe some of them would vote for Warren too, but we don't want that. We don't want Working Families Party people registering as a Democrat to vote for Sanders. We don't want Republicans, who Bernie does well with in a lot of polls, to register as a Democrat to vote for Bernie Sanders. So we're just going to rig it for Joe Biden. And this is going out in the open. Corporate media isn't covering it. Independent media isn't covering it. This is how primaries are rigged. It's not just on the day where they, suddenly are run out of ballots or, purge 200,000 voters in Brooklyn. It's before the primary. So if I were you, I'm just a journalist. I'm just providing you the information. I think Andrew Cuomo should have to feel a little pressure why he's not signing that bill. But the reason I'm showing you all these polls, listen, Bernie is close in Iowa. Some polls have him in a tie or in second place in Iowa. Bernie is close in New Hampshire. Bernie is tied or winning in some polls in Nevada. He's not doing well in South Carolina. No one is, other than Biden. And then he's doing well in California. So you have Bernie's doing well in Iowa, New Hampshire, Nevada, California, 4, and then New York. That is 4 out of the first 5 contests. Iowa, New Hampshire, Nevada, California. He's doing well in 4 out of the 5. And then in New York, he's only down by 7, which is really not bad. 6 months before the primary. He was polling way, way further behind Hillary Clinton this far out in 2015. In 2015, polls for the New York primary, Hillary Clinton was murdering Bernie Sanders. In this, only down 7 points. And this is why you are seeing the complete manufacturing of consent for Elizabeth Warren. Where the corporate media, you think the corporate media was making sweet, sweet love to Donald Trump in 2016 with free airtime after free airtime, $2 to $3 billion worth of free airtime. Elizabeth Warren has gotten the most free airtime than anyone else in this campaign. Adoring, showering love. So I'm going to stay on the New York primary rigging. I'm going to keep telling the truth that Warren is being disingenuous. Some might say, Jordan, you're being too harsh. I don't think so. You can't run claim you're a progressive, claim you're against corruption, but say, I'm going to take the money in the general election. I did all these fundraisers and hobnobbing and took all the money from the big donors for my Senate reelection. Then I just transferred that money over to my presidential campaign, and I used that money to start my campaign. But I don't take money from big donors during my presidential campaign. I'm against corruption. You can't say, no, taxes aren't going to go up on anyone under Medicare for All. They will go up. It's not how the corporate media has depicted it, but your taxes will go up under Medicare for All, but you're overall going to save money, which Bernie has explained. I think she's being disingenuous. Frankly, I think she's borrowing a little bit from Barack Obama in 2007. Piper, Jordan, you are being too harsh. Okay. Piper, if I'm being too harsh, then I'll pay the piper. Get what I did there? Carlos, $2 in the super chat. Jordan, you are a Mitch that is putting that work. I don't know what that Mitch means, that putting that work, but I'll take it as a compliment, whatever you mean. And we just got 2 new Status Coup members. Welcome to the Media Revolution. David and Lynn. We are now at 703. 703 Status Coup members. Keep it coming. You could join as low as $5 to $10 a month. Your membership is how we are going to get back in the field and stay in the field. It is so liberating when I say to Jen, hey, I think we need to go here, and we just go. because we have the money coming in monthly. That's what membership is. It's how we fund in the field reporting. Statuscoup.com/join. I've heard from more people that they've canceled their memberships elsewhere and signed on to us. I'm not telling you who to support, who not to support. I'm not calling on you to cancel others, but I am saying if you do have the money, whether it be because you canceled elsewhere or whatever, I think we are showing you what we're going to do with your hard-earned money. We're not just talking about it, we've shown you. And my plan is I got to get back in the field probably within the next week or two for this investigative story I've been talking to you about. I can't go into full details, but that's my plan, to go back in the field for that. I do want to go cover the Keystone XL pipeline in the next month or two. The Keystone XL pipeline, which could turn into the next Standing Rock, frankly, is set to begin construction by the end of this year. I think the construction company is just going to start way earlier than that. And I'd like to get the eyeballs and the attention on this now, before that pipe is dug. Because it's very hard to stop a pipeline, an unnecessary pipeline, a dangerous pipeline, when the pipe is already starting to be constructed. It's rarely happened in American history. I don't know if it's ever happened. I want to get eyeballs and attention on now. Unfortunately, when the attention turned on Dakota Access and the fight at Standing Rock, that pipeline was already halfway built, and it was very difficult to reverse that. There's not many judges or political figures that throw up their hands. You know, you're right. This is going to endanger all the water, all the wildlife, all the animals, so let's just stop it. Unfortunately, United Corporations of America doesn't work that way. So, become a member, statuscoup.com/join. Our end of the year goal is 1,000. So we're now just 297 members away. Let's look at it that way. We're 297 members away from hitting 1,000 members. Keep it coming, statuscoup.com/join. So, I've talked about why Warren is being dishonest. I've talked about how Biden is a train wreck. I want to talk a little bit about the Working Families Party endorsement. And by the way, we just got another donation. Thank you, Leo, $5, and Doug, $5. So we're now at $71,360. Keep it coming if you can in the GoFundMe. Early birthday presents are appreciated. My birthday's Friday. So, you know, the Working Families Party, which, to tell you the truth, not a major thing in American politics. They've done some good things, but overall, you know, the Working Families Party is not going to make or break any presidential campaign. But the Working Families Party endorsed Elizabeth Warren, and the corporate media would never, ever cover the Working Families Party endorsement if they would have endorsed Bernie Sanders. It would have been an afterthought. But since the Working Families Party endorsed Elizabeth Warren wall to wall, and I think the chairman or some high up was on with Chris Cuomo last night, I found that very interesting because, you know, the Working Families Party, let's see what he said. And we're going to get into how the endorsement came and that 50%, first 50%. But the Working Families Party person said, we need a mass movement to make her plans a reality. And we're going to be part of that work. WFP Director Maurice Mitchell said, you don't defeat the moderate wing of the Democrats through pieces of pithy tweets. You defeat their politics through organizing. That was extremely interesting to me, that the Working Families Party director said, you don't defeat the moderate wing of the Democratic Party through pithy tweets. I guess, in a way, that was, I don't know if that was a knock against Bernie Sanders. It's hard to tell. But you don't defeat the moderate wing. So the Working Families Party seems to think we need to defeat the moderate wing of the Democratic Party to then defeat Donald Trump. So they endorsed Elizabeth Warren, the same person who's been going around the country having hot tea and playing footsie with, say it with me, folks, the moderate wing of the Democratic Party. I talked about this in the prior story. It's already been reported that Elizabeth Warren has been going around and basically courting the Democratic Party establishment, the same moderates that the Working Families Party director said, quote, we need a mass movement to make our plans a reality, and we're going to be part of that work. You don't defeat the moderate wing of Democrats through thought pieces or pithy tweets. You defeat their politics through organizing. Well, her organizing has been going around the country and organizing hot tea with the very moderates that the Working Families Party just said we need to defeat. So that doesn't make much sense to me. And everything that I'm saying is all going to get to a point, because I think there's something more behind the Working Family Party endorsement of Elizabeth Warren. He also said something pretty interesting on with Chris Cuomo last night. Let's take a look.
So, why Warren and not Sanders? Why Warren and not Sanders?
So let me just first say that it's 2019 and we have two structural change, big, bold, progressive candidates that have built huge grassroots followings in the democratic process.
But you picked one. Why?
Right, and so our grassroots members and our volunteers and our state committee, we engaged in a very long process and we came out. And I'm so proud of the process and so proud that we chose Elizabeth Warren. And let me tell you why. So, I mean, if you look at her, you know, they joke about she has a plan for it, right? But if you look at it and you take a step back, so Green New Deal, so we could save the planet. A historically big picture housing policy. The Medicare for All, to take the insurance companies between you and your doctor, right? So healthcare could be a right and not a commodity that's traded.
Bernie
right?
does the same things and he wrote the damn bill.
That's absolutely right.
For once, I got to give credit to CNN. Chris Cuomo just put out what I think we were all thinking. Everything you're talking about, it sounds like you're endorsing Bernie Sanders because they're all his policies. They're all Bernie Sanders policies. Now, in fairness, the Green New Deal, originally, they don't get much credit, was the Green Party and Jill Stein. But Bernie Sanders is who has championed Medicare for All when it was thought to be, a communist idea. Back in the 80s and the 90s, he's been talking about a single-payer system. Bernie Sanders has the most aggressive climate change policy. Bernie Sanders' version of the Green New Deal is $16 trillion. Elizabeth Warren's, I think, is $2 trillion. Elizabeth Warren has I think they talked about an affordable housing plan. Bernie Sanders has a housing plan. So, to me, something doesn't smell right here. And by the way, I'm not one of these, jerk-off people that, if somebody I agree with endorses somebody else, I'm going to be like, they're terrible. I'm not, knocking the Working Families Party in totality. But something doesn't smell right because everything that they're listing, Bernie Sanders runs laps around Elizabeth Warren and has been the OG originator. So something is foul here. Something don't make sense. Thank you, Kush Renata, $10 in the super chat. Stopped my subscription to a certain, quote, progressive network because I was tired of waiting for the four horsemen of journalism to ride. The real apocalypse may happen before they get another Jordan. Kush Renata, all I could say, and thank you for the super chat. Again, I'm not going to call for people to cancel subscriptions elsewhere. That's your decision, who you want to subscribe to, who you want to cancel. But I will say, if $5 to $10 opens up for any of you watching, we got 600 people watching, but if $5 to $10 a month that you're currently allotting elsewhere, if you don't feel that outlet is being totally honest, if you don't think that outlet is being totally genuine of their principles, if you don't think that they are offering true, factual, aggressive coverage of all candidates and not just, turning a blind eye to candidates that they might have economic benefits to treating fairly or treating positively, then I say your money is better spent with Status Quo because I don't give a damn. Frankly, would I like an interview with Bernie Sanders? Absolutely. Would I like an interview with Elizabeth Warren? Absolutely. Would I like access to the campaigns? 100%. But that's not what's going to make or break my journalism or Status Quo. So I'm not going to cover these people with kid gloves, and I'm not going to turn a blind eye. And if Elizabeth Warren is lying in interviews, I'm going to point that out. If Elizabeth Warren is pretending that she's not taking money from big donors when she has taken money from big donors, it was a technicality. She transferred that big money, $120 a stake during her Senate campaign and transferred it over to her presidential campaign, I'm not going to turn a blind eye. So I'm not saying I'm the four horsemen or I'm the one horseman, but I think status quo is the aggressive, authentic, and to be clear, we are in the field journalism. So I haven't been in the field the last 2 months because A, I blew out my back, which my back is finally, knock on wood, getting better. Secondly, we're interviewing to hire a new camera person, either a man or a woman, cameraman. So that's how, but I'm getting back in the field soon. So I say, I'm not telling people to do it, but if $5 to $10 a month opens up, I don't know if we're the horsemen, but I say join the Coup Day Cavalry. We're now at 703 members. We want to get to 1,000 by the end of this year. I know that of the 600 watching, there are many of you that do have that $5 to $10 a month. If you don't, we respect that. We don't want to make your situation worse. If you can't pay, if you can't support us financially, just press the share button, spread the word. But if you can, we're not just telling you what we're going to do, we're showing you what we're going to do. And I'll have the map tomorrow when I reference. I'll have the map ready to go to show you everywhere we have been reporting in the field, if you forgot. In 1 year, with very little resources, remember, we have not taken a dime from banks, oil companies, pharmaceutical companies, real estate companies, Silicon Valley, not a dime. We are growing through our viewers. Initially, we had a small investment from a viewer, from an actual viewer, who I met at a conference, and that viewer gave us enough money to buy some equipment. That's it. So become a member, statusquo.com/join. Thank you, Kush Renata, for the super chat. We had another super chat, I think. Just become a member. Thank you, Jerry Young. Signed up as a member. We are now at 704 705 Status Quo members. Welcome to the Media Revolution, Jerry Young and Hala and Jerry. Welcome. Thank you. Stay a while. So, continuing on with the Working Families Party endorsement, it doesn't make sense to me. And, sorry. Thank you, Anna, $20 in the GoFundMe. So we're now at 71,380. Keep it coming there, too, if you can. It doesn't make sense to me. Why is the Working Families Party in one breath saying we need someone to organize, we need somebody who could organize and who's going to challenge the moderate wing of the Democratic Party when Elizabeth Warren is playing footsie with the moderate wing of the Democratic Party? Why is the Working Families Party saying they chose Elizabeth Warren because Green New Deal, Medicare for all, affordable housing, when Bernie Sanders has been the OG on all of these things? Doesn't make sense to me. Then you have the fact that the Working Families Party, again, if it was a truly transparent and genuine process, and there's no funny business, if the Working Families Party decided to endorse Elizabeth Warren, then we could just chalk it up. All right, agree to disagree, but at least the process was honest. But as Jacobin Magazine points out, another important question: did the party's left of center membership, the same one that gave Bernie 87% 4 years ago, 87% of their members voted for Bernie Sanders as an endorsement in 2016, really sour on the ever-popular left of center Sanders so dramatically? The Working Families Party tally for Sanders was down to 36% in its announced weighted results. You're telling me 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 that Bernie Sanders went down 50% among the members of the Working Family Party? I don't know. As Jacobin points out, it's impossible to know given the process the party used to choose their candidate, split evenly between the votes of tens of thousands of Working Families Party members and a small board of several dozen people. The party announced that Warren drew just over 60% of the ranked choice vote, but refused to release the exact breakdown of member votes versus board votes as they did in 2015 when Sanders won. Why that's important is the board's votes. I believe the board is 80. I think the board was like 56 people. Those 56 people, their endorsements count for 50% of the overall vote. The remaining I believe thousands of people that are members of the Working Families Party, the remaining, what did they say? tens of thousands of members of the Working Family Party also count for 50%. So 50 or so people on the board, their endorsement is weighted 50%, and tens of thousands of working family members, working families party members are also weighted for 50%. So honestly, we don't know, because they haven't released the vote tally. We don't know how many of their actual rank and file members voted for Elizabeth Warren versus Bernie Sanders. You would think if more of the rank and file members, not this board, and people on the board are, people who are the activists or the leaders of the Working Family Party who put in a lot of the work, blah, 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 so their vote is weighted more. But why should 50-something members on a board, their weight should be 50%? Technically, if you want to do math, 50 out of 50 of the board members could have gone for Warren, and the majority of the actual members could have gone for Bernie, yet because the majority of the board went for Warren, Working Families Party overall endorsement goes to Bernie Sanders. And it's not just the Working Families Party. We've seen unions do this, where the board chose Hillary Clinton, but the members chose Bernie Sanders. Well, why is it that they won't reveal that? Maybe because the membership chose Bernie Sanders, but it was the board who swung it to Elizabeth Warren. The reason that they have given, honestly, sounds ridiculous to me. It just sounds like trying to cover up what the actual vote tallies were. The leadership's rationale for not releasing the tally was incoherent, Jacobin said. For there to be one true vote and to maintain the nature of secret ballot, Maurice Mitchell said, all of that went into the back end. Since when did a secret ballot mean not having to disclose the results? What does that even mean? All of that went into the back end? So basically, they gave some cockamamie reason for not releasing the votes. Listen, maybe it is what they say it is. Maybe it is that, for whatever reason, people had a change of heart, and the majority of people want Warren and not Bernie. I find that hard to believe based on what I've seen across the country. But the fact that you won't just say, hey, X amount, or let's say 60% of the membership voted for Bernie, but 40% of the board voted for Warren. Just be transparent. The fact that they're not being transparent leads me to believe they're trying to cover up the fact that their membership, rank and file, chose Bernie. The other reason I say this, and I'm totally transparent when I'm an expert on something, when I'm not, I am not an expert. I am not an expert on New York politics. But I do know people that know New York politics, and the Working Families Party is very big in New York, and nationally. So I spoke with two people today about what's going on with this Working Families Party endorsement. Seems odd to me. They won't release the tallies. They're saying they chose Warren because you need someone who's going to challenge the moderate wing of the party, which she's not challenging the moderate wing of the party. She's in bed with the moderate wing of the party. I was told by two people, well, they're broke, Jordan. The Working Families Party is broke. So them endorsing Warren, there will be money in it for them, because they'll start getting donations from Warren donors and establishment donors that are donating to Warren. Not an expert on the Working Families Party, but two people I spoke to that are very, very knowledgeable and involved with New York politics said to me straight up, Working Families Party is broke. So it would make sense to me if you throw your endorsement weight behind Elizabeth Warren, there might be money that trickles in as a result of that. The second thing is the Working Families Party endorsed Joe Crowley over Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. The Working Families Party endorsed Governor Andrew Cuomo over Cynthia Nixon. So this isn't exactly a party that's capital P progressive in all aspects. So, that's all I say about that. Listen, if it was a fair process, if they released the tallies and it shows both the board chose Warren and the majority of the actual rank and file members chose Warren, then I just say, okay, I agree to disagree. I think that's the wrong choice, but people can endorse however they want. I don't totally dismantle and say, to hell with the Working Families Party. But since they're not since they're not being honest, I say bull. I don't believe that the majority of members chose Elizabeth Warren over Bernie Sanders. I don't believe it. And the fact that they're not being transparent shows that. So, what do we see here? Blah, 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 blah. Jordan, you guys need a few interns to help administrative tasks and whatnot. JJ, we need more than a few interns. Unfortunately, as of now, we can't do it. We plan on doing it in the future, but right now we can't. For both logistical reasons, I don't have anyone to oversee interns, and I'm not going to have interns if we cannot pay. As a progressive company, we are not going to have volunteers or interns that we cannot pay. And at this point, we cannot, this is why I'm pushing membership so hard. We're growing. We are now at 705 members, but we're not at a membership level yet that I'd be able to pay something respectable to interns or volunteers. I appreciate people willing to work for free, but both morally and ethically, I don't want to do that. I want to pay people for the work, but also legally, we cannot just have people work for free. We've looked into it, both how much we would have to pay legally and things like that, and we can't do it. And unpaid internships are really becoming a thing of the past, and I think that's a good thing. I don't want to have unpaid interns. I was an unpaid intern long ago, but that was a different time, and Status Quo needs to practice what we preach, so we're not going to have people working here for free or volunteering for free, but if you help us grow this membership, hint, hint, my 33rd birthday is Friday. All I want for Christmas, all I want for my birthday is you as a Status Quo member. Ooh, that would have been a good commercial for me to sing. Yes, all I want for my 33rd birthday is for you to sign up as a Status Quo member. I think you're going to like what you're getting to support actual, in the field, progressive, authentic journalism. Statusquo.com/join. And if you never saw this, here's a good example of that aggressive, in the field journalism. So, my last story of the day, and just to give you an update, we are now at, let me see, because we've gotten a couple membership signups. We are now at, 705 members. Keep it coming. We are also $20 shy of 71,400. So 71,400, almost there. If a couple of you, I would love to get to 72,000 today, but I'll take whatever we can get. I'll put the link there one more time to GoFundMe. So another reason that we need an actual progressive to take on Donald Trump is Donald Trump is very, very good at manipulating and moonwalking in and out of seeming like a populist champion. As General Motors and United Auto Workers strike, which is amazing, I wish I was there. We were there when they were laid off a couple months ago. No other national media was there. The White House is seeking to end the United Auto Workers strike against General Motors with an agreement that would reopen an assembly plant in Lordstown, Ohio that General Motors shut down in March. The effort, described to Politico by two people close to the matter, would effectively put the White House on the side of the UAW. Some 48,000 GM workers went out on strike on Monday, demanding higher wages, more generous health care benefits, and more job security than management has been willing to offer in a new contract. If the effort is successful, it could boost the president's re-election chances next year in Michigan and Ohio, where his approval rating has been slipping since the two states helped him to victory in 2016. President Donald Trump has tried to woo blue-collar workers, blah, 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 blah. So why this is important is Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania are going to decide the election once more. It's very clear. I think Arizona could potentially be in play. I don't know. I think Iowa, if Bernie were the nominee, could be in play in the general election. I'm not talking about the Iowa caucus. I'm talking about the general election. I think some red states could be in play if Bernie Sanders was the nominee, including Kentucky, which he almost won the primary there in 2016. But if you don't have a real populist, and Joe Biden is not a real populist, then what you're going to have is Donald Trump, probably, the way it's looking now, Donald Trump billing himself as I'm the one who got General Motors to the bargaining table. I'm the one who got the United Auto Workers' wages up. I'm the one who got the healthcare benefits better. I'm the one who brought General Motors to the table, and I'm the one who saved those plants or brought back those plants. And in this political story I just read to you, Donald Trump is talking, and the White House is talking about trying to save or bring back the plant that they closed in Lordstown, Ohio. Lordstown, Ohio, where I was, in addition to Detroit and other places, interviewing UAW workers just a few months ago. As a reminder, the very plant that Donald Trump says that he's going to help bring back by fighting for UAW workers now, I was there a couple months ago. Here's part of that interview.
Ask you, honestly, this stuff predates President Trump, but President Trump actually told people, I believe at a rally around here, don't move, your factory's good, I'm bringing back, don't sell your house, all those things. I covered Trump on the campaign trail. I thought it was a lot of hoodwinking, but frankly, when you have areas like Ohio, Michigan, Pennsylvania that have just been decimated by free trade and this, they're open to somebody saying those things. Can you kind of talk about, not just Trump, but I mean, it's both parties. You have, on one hand, the Republicans have been union busting forever, but the Democrats, frankly, the Democratic Party of the last few years has not exactly done a lot to elevate labor unions, and they're all for retraining. Well, I spoke with some steel workers a couple years ago, said, my workers retrained. Unfortunately, there's no jobs. What is the role of Trump here? And what is the role of the Democratic Party as well?
Look, I've written Donald Trump 2 letters since I've been here in May, since May of last year, and I've got no response, not even like a general, we got your letter type of response. So I think our current president, his plan, right, is to win the 24-hour news cycle, and he's going to continue to win that. I think what America needs is a 10, 20, 50, 100-year plan. We need people to get elected that are going to put a plan to this country and say, this is our strategy, this is what we're going to do, and stick with it, and have bipartisan support. Is this another pie in the sky type of dream? Can our politicians do that? Have they been bought off already with the big money from corporations? They say corporations are people now too. They can give unlimited contributions to political donations. Well, then they should be good corporate citizens and have some a standard that they have to live by if they're going to make those contributions and be considered like that. I just don't think that our current system, the way it sits, gives the working man or average people a real fair shake in anything.
And it's interesting you said that because, General Motors has donated quite a lot to politicians. And I mean, you say what you want, but Congressman Tim Ryan from here has taken, I believe, I've looked at 3 years, about $10,000 a pop.
So that was the head of the local UAW that I interviewed when I was in Lordstown. But when he did say, and by the way, I was able to go cover GM laying off 15,000 people because of you, because of membership. So again, become a member. Statuscoup.com/join. We will continue to cover those stories, those important stories. But the reason that I wanted to show you that, he made one point that was very, very correct. Donald Trump is interested in winning the 24-hour news cycle. Well, I got news for you. If Donald Trump does something for these UAW workers striking, which currently his White House seems to be getting involved. Currently, his White House is positioning themselves as possibly supporting the UAW workers. I think Donald Trump behind the scenes will have a wink-wink with General Motors and its vulture capitalist CEO, Mary Barra, and say, listen, I'm going to publicly go and be for the workers, give them a little bit, but then, we'll give you some more behind the scenes, backroom, tax cuts, deregulation, whatever you want. We'll give it to you. But you got to give some crumbs to the workers. I think that's what will actually happen because Donald Trump wants to win over those voters that are currently striking. And you want to know something? If Donald Trump does do something to help those auto workers that have been getting screwed by General Motors for decades, their pensions being cut, their health insurance benefits being cut, their wages being cut, their hours being cut. If Donald Trump does something to help them, and the Democrats run Joe Biden against him, who takes money from union busters, who pushed NAFTA, who in 2016 was for the TPP, and frankly still is, but is pretending not to be, iceberg right ahead, if that's what they do. Iceberg right ahead. Because frankly, I've met people in the Midwest. They want to know, what have you done for me lately? And if Donald Trump is able to bill himself as a fighter for GM workers, as a fighter for UAW workers, as a fighter for the working man and woman of America, people who take a shower right after work, it's going to help him win Michigan. We're going to help him win back Wisconsin, win Pennsylvania, win Ohio. So that's why you need a real populist to point out the reason that these workers have been screwed for years is because of people like Donald Trump and his policies that give giant wet kisses and sexual favors to companies like General Motors. No, I did not draw that. That was this is one of the wonderful graphics from our graphic designer and editor, Colin Tooley, who, while at his full-time job, constantly gets bananas requests from me to make crazy graphics and always comes through. Thank you, Colin. So I think, most importantly, we want to see these General Motors workers and these UAW workers who work at General Motors and other car plants, we want to see them get economic relief, higher wages, better benefits, not have their pensions cut, not have their hours cut, get some vacation time, get a little dignity. But I'm telling you, Donald Trump is now doing his little slippery thing where 90% of the time he's a friend of the vulture capitalists, but then 10% of the time he's going to try and fight for the working class. It's going to work, and he's going to be successful in hoodwinking more people into thinking he actually fought for your jobs. Behind the scenes, he will gladly give General Motors more corporate welfare if General Motors listens to him and gives the workers some relief, gives them some crumbs to help his reelection chances. So if the Democratic Party, if the Hillary people, if CNN, MSNBC, the New York Times, if they want to continue going with Joe Biden, who can't remember President Obama's names during speeches, who can't remember the two cities that just had mass shootings 24 hours within each other, if he can't remember which city he's standing in, if he can't finish a sentence or two during a debate without stuttering and mumbling, then you get the government you made happen, and you get the fascist in the White House you made happen. Because trust me, Donald Trump, you know this, he don't give a damn about the workers at General Motors. He don't give a damn. He does not give a damn about the workers at General Motors. He doesn't give a damn whether they have health care, whether they have enough hours to work, whether they can feed their families. But he does give a damn about getting their votes. And he knows if he gives them some relief now, they might come out for him. And they're not going to come out for him if Donald Trump, and they won't come out for the Democrat running against Trump if Trump does something for them now and the Democrats put up a union-busting, pro-NAFTA, pro-TPP, repealed Glass-Steagall, and all the other goodies. That's it for today, folks. I'm glad we signed up a few new members. Remember, we could only grow as far as you take us. We just got another new member. Welcome, Jerry. So we're now at 706 Status Quo members. I would love to get that membership up to 800 by the end of this month. So that gives us a little while. Maybe I'll do a little membership extravaganza on Friday on my birthday. You can become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. I've heard a lot more people saying I've canceled my membership elsewhere. If you have, I think it's way better put to status quo. Because unlike others, we're not telling you we're going to do X with your membership and then giving you something totally different and frankly faux progressive. We are out there in the trenches. We've been out in the trenches, and we're going to get back in the trenches. Statusquo.com/join. Also, thank you to all the people that have donated to our GoFundMe. We are now at, we just got $50. So we are now at $71,430. $71,430. I would have loved to hit 72,000 today. 72,000 today, but tomorrow we fight. What do they say? Tomorrow we fight another day. Oh, we live to fight another day tomorrow. So hopefully we'll get to that $72,000 tomorrow. But the GoFundMe never sleeps. I'll put the link in the super chat one last time. And membership, you can become a member at any time. And I'm going to do a membership video tomorrow. To give you a little bit more update on the investigative story that I'm working on behind the scenes. And so you have a little, members get more content and members get a little bit more behind the scenes. I want you to know what Jen and I have been up to the last few days investigating this story. So that's for members and patrons. When I say members, that includes patrons. So sign up as a member. I'll have that video for you tomorrow on all the behind the scenes going on to break this story, this investigative story. I can't go into further details, but if you get me sloppy enough on my birthday, no, I'm just kidding. Sign up as a member, statuscoup.com/join. I will see you tomorrow, 5 o'clock Eastern. Remember, most people are not lacking compassion. Most people have no earthly idea what is happening all around them in this United Corporations of America. Peace out.